What's up, my archfiends of chaos? This is your king and knight, Vince About Time EX Turk, with another coming back at you with a brand new video for Final Fantasy segment. So, this is another theory and also a fate of. What is the fate of? What of the fate of our great emperor of Niflheim, Ideolas Ziggurat? And the episode, and this is where I think it could be linked together. Because when you go out to get the crystal as Noctis, there could be a I think it's also probable for a chapter 13. And the reason why I think it's probable for a chapter 13, verse 3, is because verse 3 could be phase 3. Verse 3 is pretty much Gladiolus, Ignis, and Prompto defeating all the demons and multiple clones of THEROY, aka Ideolas. And I think this will go into the side quest with the Ziggurat gargoyle hunting, because reason why I think it's possible for that is, I think it's gonna be apparent that Ideolas reveals his intentions in chapter 13, verse 3, if it goes along with episode Ignis. And I think Ideolas tells of Ardyn's plan to them. Because remember, Ideolas only wanted to save his people with the crystal. And the reason why I think this is relevant to the gargoyle hunt and the Lestalem hunt, I happen to think that Ziggurat is actually Ideolas' ghost. Now, I know that sounds crazy. I pulled crazy theories over and over. I said things that people in the fan base think that I'm smoking too many doobies, but think about it. Gargoyle or Ziggurat looks too much like Ideolas' demon form, THEROY. So, maybe Ideolas comes back as a ghost a little bit, because Ideolas probably ends up being an anti-hero. Maybe after Ideolas gets defeated by Gladiolus, Ignis, and Prompto, while Noctis is getting the crystal, maybe it's not Ardyn that finishes off Ideolas. I think it's possibly Gladiolus, Ignis, and Prompto. And then he kills out a demon form, and that's why you see the corpse of Ideolas in the end of Insomnia. At chapter 14, when Noctis challenges Ardyn. But Ideolas tells you that he was only doing this to save his people, and Ardyn tricked him into going this far. Thus, he turns his back on Ardyn because he knows Ardyn wants to control both the Niflheim Empire and the Kingdom of Insomnia, so he could become the ruler of everything. Pretty much take his kingdom under his nose. Because maybe after Ideolas gets defeated by Noctis once, and then gets defeated by Gladiolus, Ignis, and Prompto, I think it's possible that he might be thinking about everything Ravus has been saying to him. About him being the puppet of the darkness. Of course, Ideolas is too thick-headed and Ideolas is thick-headed and isn't going to understand things. Ideolas is thick-headed and power-hungry and self-absorbed, so he ain't gonna think about it. He's too full of himself, And you can already tell because the stuff he wears is, it's the most fanciest robe in Grallia ever that he's wearing. So you kind of figure out he's gonna be full of hot air, But maybe he starts to think after getting beat the second time, except by Noctis' friends, and not Noctis, that maybe he was right. Ardyn was playing for him for a fool all along. And this is where I think it could be possible he comes back as a side quest ghost. I think Ideolas' reward for actually being a last-minute good guy after being defeated twice and flaunting Ardyn's plan to get rid of the Scourge, I think as a last-minute reward he comes back as a ghost. Of course, it's confusing that he comes back as a demon form ghost rather than his actual human form. Now, I've been wrong about Caligo being Ziggurat, because the only time I've seen the form of that demon, THEROY, is Ideolas. Now, it does not make sense that there's random high-level demons that have the same look as Ideolas, except different colors. So, maybe you gotta cleanse the evil that Ideolas left behind in Lucis. And maybe that's what side quest was about, was cleansing and exorcising the evil out of Lestalem, or the Lestalem area, by taking out Ideolas' demon form, Ferois. Because Ferois, even though, yes, it was Ideolas turning into the demon form, the demon that was in his Ideolas, Ferois, is what made Ideolas become evil in the first place. Because before, it said in the description that Ideolas was a beloved emperor of Niflheim until he became power hungry. And maybe Ferois was what made him power hungry. Meaning that you had to cleanse the spirit of the evil that was in Ideolas and Lucis. And that's pretty much my theory of who Ziggurat is. Like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff, and may the crystal be with you. And why I also think it's possible of chapter 13 verse 3, because we need to get to see what happened to Ignis, Gladiolus, and Prompto during the fight against those demons, only when they showed up and tried to get after Arden. And so I think it's possible it might tease some of the story of everything that happened to Ideolas a little bit of a deeper. But that's my fan theory.